The coach, Fernando Diniz, is about to give his press conference after Corinthians won Cruzeiro 2 in the 23rd round of the Brazilian Championship. Well, it was a match that Corinthians needed to win to get closer to the top four, to dream of a direct spot in the next Copa Libertadores through the Brazilian Championship, but that's not what happened. It was a game that we called back and forth, right? Corinthians had many chances, Cruzeiro had many chances, and in the end, the Cruzeiro team was more lethal, more effective in scoring the goals. Corinthians really struggled with aerial play, so Cruzeiro managed to be lethal using that as an attacking weapon and defended very poorly, right? Especially on the second goal when Van de Soek had just come on a little while before, he managed to head the ball with no chance for Hugo Souza. This result, it puts a little more pressure on the Libertadores game on Thursday. But the Corinthians fans, from what we felt here at the Neoquímica Arena, kind of bought into the idea that the main focus, the big game of the week, is against Rosario Central on Thursday for the Libertadores. So, in a moment, we'll hear from Coach Fernando Diniz so we can understand his analysis of this match and what choices he made because he kept almost the entire starting lineup. He made very few changes, right? He basically kept Alan, who won't be able to play in the Libertadores because he was sent off in the first game. And he also puts Carillo in to give a little more strength to the midfield. But it was a situation that didn't work out. In the end, they were tactical choices that didn't work. And besides that, we had a really poor performance from important midfielders like Rodrigo Garo and Breno Bidon. They were players who were important for Corinthians to have speed in the transition from defense to attack. Cruzeiro is a team that wouldn't give up attacking. It's a team with a lot of offensive strength, even with almost all reserves in the starting lineup, right? The starting players like Matias Pereira came in throughout the match. But Corinthians needed those two factors in the midfield, Breno Bidon and Rodrigo Garo, to speed up the game a bit more, improve the passing in the final third, and serve Caio Cesar and Pedro Raul, and that's not what happened. So, emotionally, I don't think Corinthians leaves too discouraged because they didn't play that badly. But it's worth pointing out because it's another point. Another home game where Corinthians fails to earn points, and that could cost them later on. Obviously, they're no longer in the Copa do Brasil. They only have the Libertadores in the Brazilian Championship to play. So it was important for Corinthians to stay close to the front runners. Let's see what Fernando Diniz will say in a moment. And you can check out the reaction to that on lance.com.br and also on our social media at Lance Digital. That's it for now. See you next time.